Seems like today the current trend is to move away from ceiling fans. The only reason I have them in my rooms and house is it gets really hot in the summer, even with good insulation in the attic. So, in my opinion, I think the white fans look the cleanest, especially if you have a tiny room with less than 8 foot ceilings. It's just a personal preference, but at night when you're sleeping in bed, the white fans aren't as noticeable. Whereas if you had a dark color, you're more likely to see those. But if you want a more modern looking fan, they definitely have the brushed nickel. If I had a newer house, I would definitely opt for something of this color. The reason I chose this fan over similar ones is at the time the light bulbs were standard size. A lot of the other fans I was looking at from Hunter had, I believe it was called the chandelier or the really thin base, and I just don't like dealing with that. I like all my light bulbs to be the same size so I can easily replace them. So these are just some really old fans that I'm gonna replace. I don't know if you can see in the video, but some of the blade arms are bent. These originally hung a lot lower. They were on a down rod. This room is slightly less than typical 8 foot found in most houses nowadays. So it didn't take much for a kid or someone to just stick something up there and cause something like this to happen. And this happened in every fan in each bedroom, so I'm not sure why he didn't just do the low profile mount. A few years ago I did that. I just took the down rod off and used the low profile mount. But now in terms of aesthetics, I just wanted something a little bit nicer. You pull 3 times, but the speed is the same. And then after the third pull, it just turns off. So probably something broken in there, maybe a bad capacitor. There's also some track lighting, which is out of style now, so I'm going to be removing that. This is the other fan that I'm replacing. Again, it has the same bent blade arms. Yeah, around 8 inches from blade to ceiling. Do know that by hanging it closer to the ceiling, you do lose some airflow compared to when using a typical down rod. But sometimes, again, when you have low ceiling heights, you don't really have a choice. Some of the problems I've seen in this house are really stupid. I mean, starting with this fan, when I changed the down rod, that outlet box, the hole was cut way too big. So all this air from the attic was coming down into the rooms. Again, these are problems that occurred in every single room, not just one. This one was the worst. The wire connection for this fan, he ran it too short, the NM wire. So the connection is actually in the attic. He didn't bother to run it long enough into the mounting box. So that's something I'm gonna have to fix. Since I'm getting rid of this light, I'm gonna see maybe if I could reuse this wire, especially if it has more slack, and just route it into that mounting box right there. And there's been many wires around these outlets where the hot wire, neutral wires, instead of stripping just half of it, the sheathing or whatever you call it, he leaves 2 inches. And that's outside any of the wire nuts. So he has exposed wires outside of the wire connectors. And if 2 hot wires happen to touch, it sparks. Don't ask how I know. Again, I don't know why they do things like this. Especially in these switches, the hook on these terminals, you usually want it facing the way so that when you're tightening them, they get tighter. He had the hook facing this way so that as you tighten it, it loosens. And yeah, again, I had a switch that started melting downstairs. It had problems going in and out, and it's because of bad wiring practices. Here is an example of a hole that he drilled way too big, so he put a really large wall plate. Didn't think much of it at the time, but once I replaced it, then I found a big hole. Here it is. See, the circuit breaker's off. If you don't know why these wires are so thin, it's because the NM cable is actually outside the outlet box, inside the attic, which I'm sure is a code violation. So, don't know what he was thinking. Instead of pulling a longer cable, he just spliced in the fan wire to make it work. Okay, so we got that out along with the track light. In my case, I was really lucky. Whoever did the track light did it to code, and that NM cable that was in there was long enough to reach here. So I simply just reroute it over here. Not really good at drywall, but not done with it yet. Okay, so I'm just gonna do the demonstration on this room because this one's more straightforward. Both of them had the problem with the hole around the outlet box made too big. So I just did some patching around the box. And then maybe later I'll seal the housing with caulk. Okay, so I just got my 2 eBay fan controllers. Both of these were listed as open box, but the description said brand new and unused. Let's just see if that was true. I believe this one was the $17 one. This one was the one that was in the 20 something range. I looked through both and they look to be the same. Same packaging, same amount of materials in both of these tool bags. This one looks completely clean. This one has some dust on it. This is the Hunter Echo Bluff in white. Not sure why, but these are always $109, whereas the brushed nickel and antique are $79. So for no reason, this is like $20 or $30 cheaper. I saw this one on sale, so I decided to go for 2 of them. So when you open this, this is what's inside. Looks like they got a little creative with the decorating on these newer models. Looks like this is the housing where the light kit attaches to. The cap. Looks like the mounting hardware is in here. This is the bracket that goes into the ceiling box. You have the instruction manual. We have the light kit. 1 light bulb. Put that on this side. The blade arms. We have 2 more light bulbs, the glass shades, and the motor. And of course, I'm going to use one of the remotes I got. So I'm going to start mounting this to the ceiling, and I'll go over the wiring in the next section. So there's quite a bit more things here than I thought. So let's go over these really quick. This is the pull chain and the cap again. This is the balancing kit if it wobbles, so we put that aside. These grommets are for the blade, and these attach the blades to the blade arms, so you put those together. Given the sheer amount of these screws with the locking ring, the locking washers, these are what mounts the blades to the motor. Put that here. Anytime you see 4 screws, that's usually what holds the mounting what do you call this? This outside cover to the bracket. There's always 4. And this mixed bag is for attaching this mount to the ceiling box. These screws here with the rings, these are probably for the light. Just a spare bag in case in the future one of your blade arms get damaged. Okay, so the plate went in. It's just how, first of all, make sure you turn off the power if that wasn't obvious. You're gonna put the 2 screws from the outlet box in the washer and attach it. I would not go too tight on that. If you do, what tends to happen is that this bracket starts bowing,
And then later when you try to attach the motor cover housing with the 4 screws is just gonna be too tight to get on. So you want it tight but not too tight. And sometimes if you go really tight and your outlet box is not anchored all the way, it's actually gonna drag the box down. So I'll put the 2 screws on both sides. It just keeps this from coming out. Fish the wires through. And then here is where it gets a little tricky since we're putting that remote. This motor spins, so we gotta find a way to secure it to the bracket so that it doesn't rub against the moving motor. Since this fan is not that heavy, I'm not using the lag screws that go into the framing members of the roof. I do that for the Hunter original fans that are cast iron and weigh 50 pounds. But for these, just going directly into the outlet box with the screws should be fine. So first thing we're gonna do is connect all 3 ground wires from the supply in the ceiling to the one in the bracket and one from the fan. These won't hook up to the remote receiver. Probably one of the hardest part of installing these receivers is finding how to mount it securely. I actually have it pretty easy already, considering this is one of the low profile mounts. Usually with the canopy style fans, as you see with the outline here, it's even narrower. So fitting it is even more of a pain in those type of fans. But you can just find mounting holes, gaps, just find a way so that it's secure. At the same time, you don't want to go overkill in case you have to change the battery or whatever inside here or replace the unit itself. So just keep that in mind. I'm really surprised that they haven't come up with a way to make these smaller by now. In terms of wiring, it's not too bad. You're going to take the white from the receiver, the white from the fan, and the white from the supply. All 3 of those will be connected together. Blue from fan, blue to receiver. That should be the light kit wire. Here's where it gets a little tricky. Yellow from receiver to black from fan. I don't know if you can see that, but this black wire comes from the fan motor. And then this is the black wire to the receiver. That goes to the black from the supply coming out of the ceiling. This is the hot wire. Okay. Ideally, you want the live wires, ungrounded wires on one side, actually inside the outlet box, spread out on one side, and then all the ground and neutral wires on the other side. I'm not going to show that here because I can't really fit all that back in there. Is almost impossible, but just be aware of that. Follow all the code. I'm just doing this for an example, but don't take this as the end all be all way to do it. Before we close everything up, I usually like to test and make sure that this is working, because obviously you don't want to take everything back apart with the blades and everything. So I'm going to hook up the switch here so that it'll actually work and I can control the on-off speed and the lights. Okay. Generally speaking, if you did everything right, that's what should happen. If you flip it and it pops back, chances are you royally screwed something up. Not always the case, but if one of the caps came loose and your hot wire is touching ground or something, it will short and pop that circuit. And that has happened to me. Sometimes you think you twisted the wire nut on all the way, and maybe not. It came out while you're trying to stuff all the wires back in the canopy, so that is possible. So the light's not working. I gotta figure out what. Maybe I wired something wrong. Make a comment that usually these fans have kind of like a slotted hook for you to kind of twist it in, but this one you gotta support it on both sides. So I don't really like that design. It's kind of weird. It's like they've gone backwards. These grommets have been some of the hardest I've ever seen push through. I think some of them even ripped a little. But yeah, don't go too hard on it. In terms of tightening the screw, again, there's a little bit of play in the beginning because of the rubber, but once it's tight enough, the screwdriver will stop. Don't tighten it any more than that. It's not necessary. 3 of these go here, and that attaches to the bottom of the fan. And on the edges, the other 3 will hold the light kit in place. But the light kit already have the holder screws pre-threaded in. Whatever reason they decide to use non-self or these self-tapping screws. So I would screw all 3 in first by hand to force the threads through. Take one out and then put the thing on. Okay, home stretch. First, I loosen these out all the way. This is just how I like to do it. See what I do is with one hand. Yeah, so I'm gonna, well, I can't do it with one hand, but I do 3 turns each, 3 turns each, 3 turns each, repeat, so that I'm putting even pressure along the glass. Okay, so I got everything installed. It looks pretty nice. It's kind of a cloudy day outside, but it does look better in person. Ceiling to blade height, it's about the same, 8 inches. Same as the old ones. But I'm glad that I don't have any more sagging or bent blades. I'm not gonna lie, I was doing this over my bed without a ladder, so kind of tired. I'll try out this remote. There is some hum on all speeds, but it's most noticeable on low. The camera's not going to pick it up, so I don't know if it's the remote and the receiver inside or if it's just part of the fan. So when I put up the second fan in the other room, I'll see if I can install without the remote and see if it still has that hum. On the highest speed there is some wobble, but every fan I've had in the past few years, even brand new, they all have a slight wobble, so I guess that's just normal. I'll turn it back down. The light is really bright, but this remote, you have to hold down the light button for it to dim, and it goes really slow, but it does have that adjustability. It goes really bright and then really dim. I just wish they had a separate button for the light. And this is kind of redundant because once you hit the bottom one, it turns off. So you kind of have 2 buttons that turn the fan off. That's it. Again, it's okay. I think if you get it for $79, $89, I would definitely recommend it. I definitely would not pay $109 just for the color. Again, I think that's ridiculous. But hope this helps. If there's anything you want to see or anything more you want to see, let me know and I'll be glad to do it for you guys. Thank you.